Yo, what's up and welcome back to another episode of the Social Primate Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning back in for another week. And as always, we're ready to delve into the conversation. Today our guest happens to be Chris Carmona. He's a filmmaker and director. Most recently, he's working on a film that's pending release called Bad Labor. Great premise. I'm not going to spoil anything from you guys. But, obviously check out the conversation as we go deep into topics such as the road to Hollywood, the process of not giving up and staying consistent within your work. And, obviously the importance of being represented on film, basically normalized in film. So check out the conversation. It was fun, free, light. So have fun, enjoy it. And as always, this music is brought to you by Earth Rebel. This new song is Bad Day. Check it out on SoundCloud, YouTube. I'm sure it's on other music platforms, so just search for the word Earth Rebel and check out his recently released album. Other than that, without much further ado, enjoy the conversation.
Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy to see ya. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy you're here. Getting by ain't easy. Getting by ain't easy. She got exactly what I need. Got some fire for the greens and some work for the soul. Life is meant to be. Now we caught up in the beat. It's like perfect chemistry. Oh damn, she the treat for me. And she do it for the free. Oh damn, she do it for the fan. Just exactly what I need. Planting seeds on mother's land. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy to see ya. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy you're here. When smoking on the Jamaican, we start feeling like expectations. I be fucking up the rotation, but it's all good, we just laugh. No more sleeping out at the pavement, no unhealthy meal irritations. No more stressing out about payments, girl, it's all puff pass. She got exactly what I need. Got some fire for the greens and some water for the soul.
Yo, what's up and welcome back to the Social Primate Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have Chris Carmona, director and filmmaker.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, what's up, man? I mean, it's I kind of been in communication with you for a few years, but I've never formally met you until today. So.
Yeah, I hit you up a long time ago, like in 2015, 2014, when I was just fresh out of high school, and I hit you up for like graphic designs for like my YouTube channel, and I was trying to get that going off the ground, and then another podcast that I was trying to do, the Carmona Complex. So yeah, I know we've kind of, and then you've designed posters for me too, which is cool, and yeah.
So I mean, at least from my perspective, just seeing, I don't know how far into your career that you were working on that was in, but I thought it was pretty cool just seeing how that kind of evolved. From Fingered,
thanks,
to
man.
Bad Labor.
Thanks, man.
So yeah, and what you're doing is huge, man. So that's
hopefully,
kudos.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I've been wanting to do this since I was 5, and so when I was 19 and I read Robert Rodriguez's book Rebel Without a Crew, I just said, like, I finished it and I was like, you know what, like, if you could do this in the 90s and make a pretty good action movie, like, we can do this for way less and make a fucking great movie. And so I wrote a script around stuff that we had or things that we could get, and then we went from there. And I knew I couldn't make it, a lot of times people make their first features about, like, and not that there's anything wrong with this, but like they usually make it about like teenagers or like young adults finding themselves and stuff, and it's like, that's kind of like, if I'm gonna like make a movie, I have to do something that like nobody's ever done before, and like nobody particularly starts with an action thriller set in Southeast LA. So
that's what kind of caught my attention. I think one of the preview shots, I haven't formally seen the movie myself, but I've seen the trailers and I've seen the content. So from what I'm aware of is just, I guess he's like a hired man or like a hired hitman or something, and he hires like a jornalero.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, it's a guy named Stanley Tesla, and he hires this day labor, and he's like, hey, look, he's like, I'm gonna pay you $10,000, but he's like, I need you to help me kidnap somebody, and while I'm killing them, you got to dig the hole for me to dump them in. If you can do that, no questions asked, I'll give you $10,000. And like, he shows him, like, it's like legit, like he will give him money.
But of course, it doesn't just, it's not that easy.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows after that. It gets pretty weird.
That's cool, man. So I mean, what was the idea behind that? I mean, or better yet, for people who don't know what Bad Labor is, how will you push that?
So Bad Labor is a feature film about a day laborer who gets picked up by a guy who offers to pay him handsomely, but the job involves a murder, a kidnapping, murder, and a burial. And so it's a movie that I made for $700 with my two friends. It was really just a crew of three. We hired a couple of actors that like. Well, we got a lot of actors, but like the two leads, the guy who plays Roberto the day laborer, and the guy who plays Stanley the hitman, like they didn't get paid to do it. I mean, I paid them afterwards, but they weren't, like, my point is they weren't expecting pay, you know, they were just doing it for free. And like when you see the performances that they deliver, like for free, just to have fun, like they kept telling me, hey, like, man, like this is what we do, like we just love having fun, you know. And so like it meant the world to me that like not only is it like a testament to what three guys can do with enough drive, but like you could really just like the discovery too of like new actors and like new talent like really gets me going. Like honestly, like the next movies I do, like I don't even want to work with like, before I used to want to work with like big famous people and stuff, but like now like I don't really want to do that anymore. I just want to discover new people every time, and maybe, you know, I'll occasionally throw in the famous person just to get people excited, you know. But like I think I'd want to put like new people all the time in the lead, especially brown people. Yeah,
of course. I mean, that's one of the things I kind of wanted to bring up earlier. You know, because I'm not entirely sure how many years ago, but I know I did notice that you went to the Oscars awards show or something, right?
2015,
Yeah, you know, and I saw there was a, you know, I believe around that same time or probably a little after that, there was that Twitter movement, the hashtag Oscars so white.
I don't think it was our year. It was the following year.
Yeah, it was the following year.
Yeah, because otherwise we would have been like making jokes about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So at that point, it started getting more traction.
Yeah, for sure.
But I thought that was pretty huge. You know, like again, like
yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Because I'm assuming you're local, so the fact that somebody local and that's put in, you know, you're Bell, exactly.
I'm a Bell native, yep.
And to get to that point, you know, I think it's a huge stepping stone.
Thank you, man.
You know,
yeah, I mean, Team Oscar, which was the program, or which was like the competition that we won, was an online competition hosted by Channing Tatum, where he's like, if you're a 18-year-old, you know, to 25 or something, like submit a video on the best piece of advice you ever received, and 5 winners would get the chance to come fly out and, you know, be there in Hollywood all of Oscars week. So my video got selected, and then we spent all week in the Oscars, and I was like 18. I was the youngest member there, so it was really weird and neat, but yeah.
Really that's cool.
But it's funny because like the only thing that sucks is that like back then I was in such like a terrible headspace where like when I got this thing, like, and this is something I want to address too because I think it's important for people that are young and trying to make it to know. When I went, I was under the impression, and because that's kind of what they made it seem like, that like they're gonna secure you a job in the industry, and that wasn't the case. And I remember complaining to my girlfriend, like, oh, like I'm like this is just like a glorified field trip, and then it's just like it just sounds so like greedy or like so ungrateful, you know, that like I'm having this incredible experience, but like I'm just upset because it's not going to be like my way in. And that's what I think, you know, people or kids, you know, young ambitious, you know, creatives have to understand, is that like just take everything for what it is. You know, I really wish I could have relived that experience, and not that I didn't enjoy it, I did, but like the entire time I was there, I was like all about, you know, showing face and getting numbers, and like not that there was anything wrong with that, but I think I should have just enjoyed being there and being like, and then eventually it gave me the drive to like, all right, like I want to come back, like not necessarily to win, but I want to be part of this like, you know, elite group or whatever.
And how was that experience? I mean, was that you know, because you're pursuing, I guess, I'm kind of assuming here, but you're pursuing like a career in that general film area.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, definitely. So Hollywood is huge. You know, so being there for yourself, you know, you say you've been waiting for a moment kind of like this, or you're still working towards that since 5. Like, how was that for you? Like, it
was crazy. I mean, it felt like I belonged there. Like I remember like the kind of the shock of it kind of wore off, like within a couple days, and like I remember they told us like at some point you're gonna kind of like forget forget how many famous people you meet. I'm like, there's no way. And like we did, like sometimes we're like, remember when we met Chris Pratt? I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I remember when we met Jared Leto or whatever, you know. Yeah. Excuse me. But no, it was great. I mean, the one part of the drive for Bad Labor was like, you know, I want to earn my spot back here, and I've never been about winning an Oscar. I just want to be part of that group. You know, like a bunch of like directors that I admired were there, and like it was just so cool. It was, and I just remember like when we were on TV, like when Channing Tatum presented us for the first time, like it came and went, like it happened, and then like it was over, and then we started getting flooded with tweets like, oh my god, we just saw Chris or whatever, and it was like, wow, it's like. It kind of almost like felt I kind of almost understood what it felt like to be a celebrity a little bit. Like you do one little thing for like 10 seconds, and then people are like talking about. It's like, whoa, like that was weird. Like we were on articles, we were like on TV, like on news outlets that were talking about us. So it's just like it was weird. It's like all I did was just stand there, like smile, and like it's everywhere now.
Yeah.
That was weird. That kind of exposure was really
I
freaky.
bet it's kind of. I mean, when you're not really used to it, just you get like fucking 100 likes per picture, and then next thing you know, you're having all these random people know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool though. I really loved it, and it was Also, another thing that I made sure to do is after I did Team Oscar, I remember like low key like I went to like a real stage of like depression afterwards because I just remember like you're so high up and then they drop you off back home and like you're just so like far down. I just remember like I was so bummed out and I was so like I saw like a bunch of people getting cool opportunities and like I was getting so mad and like so like unrightfully so and I remember at some point when I kind of like lightened up, I told myself that like I let 2015 be the year that like I talked about Team Oscar, that like I talked everybody's ear off. But once 2016 hit, I'm like that's not a part of me anymore. Like I didn't want that to be the coolest thing I ever did. I needed to do something bigger, and so that's where Bad Labor comes in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how long have you did you work on that movie to the point where it was? Because I mean, it's a feature length movie.
Yeah.
So
it's a movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It's long.
Yeah. No. It's an hour and 28. We shot it in literally like this month on the 6th, like last Friday, I think.
Yeah. That
would have been, I think, 3 years ago that we started rolling cameras.
Okay.
So that was really, really nuts.
So it's 3 years, and you guys had it at the Chinese.
Oh, I'm sorry, not 3 years. Like so, it's 16, 17, 8, 2 years. I'm sorry, 2 years from the day we started rolling cameras.
Oh, okay.
I'm bad at math. I'm
sorry,
guys.
No worries. That's why we're not mathematicians here,
Yeah.
But so it recently came out, or they showcased it at the Chinese theater, right?
Mm-hmm. For the La Leaf Film Festival, Edward James Olmos' fest, and like it was cool. The turnout was amazing. I was so happy to see all my fellow like Southeast LA friends there and coming out and supporting it.
Yeah, right.
It was nuts, and to see it on the big screen, because that was also the first time that like. Well, whenever we watch it, like, it's not at its fullest quality. So watching it on screen, because they have these thing called DCPs, which they use to, like, project movies. Mm-hmm. So we watched this movie, like, at its highest quality, and I've never seen it like that before. And so, like, to see everything so crisp and, like, I was like, wow, like, this looks really good. Like, and I was super proud.
And I'm assuming since then you've been able to, like, or you're already thinking about what you're going to work on next?
Yeah, I just finished shooting a couple months ago a series for a 4-episode miniseries for Me Too called Instant Crush, based off a movie I wrote last year.
Nice.
It's a love story set in an apartment complex in Southeast LA, and so it's cool. It's pretty funny, and I love the feature movie. The show's going to be really cool too, though.
Yeah, I like that you're keeping it local. Like. I mean, at least to an extent, Like I think I mentioned earlier, one of the shots where I think it was Tacos Mexico.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in that spot many times.
See, the way you get excited, like that's what gets me going. Like to see like when more kids watch Bad Labor and they see that, oh, they shot outside of Bell, I go to Bell, or they shot outside of the Tacos Mexico. Like we don't get that privilege that often, and so that's why like I want to keep it local, because. So for so long, I you dream of like going away from your city and like you're like, oh, this place is suffocating me. But then there was a film festival I was a part of, this little film festival that my buddy Jonathan Justin Jimenez hosted. And I remember finding out that I didn't know. For the longest time, I thought like Bell, Cudahy, Maywood, Huntington Park. I thought we were East LA. So whenever people are like, where are you from? I'm like, East LA. But then when I found out we were actually Southeast LA, I'm like, oh wait, we have an identity? Like this is like, we have like a name? Like this isn't just like some like random part of like LA?
Yeah.
So from then on, like I'm like, you know what? Like I want to keep all the business here. Like I think that's my calling. I think that's what I'm supposed to do. Like to keep movies here. Like, obviously one day I will expand to like, other cities and everything, but like I think like I want to be one of the pioneers of like these Sela stories, and like I already have like a plan. Like all these movies are gonna kind of like build up to like the ultimate Southeast LA movie that I'm planning. Like hopefully years in the future. I already know what it's about and everything, and that'll be like my big blowout, like my last one, and that's gonna be cool. And like my last one of the Southeast LA like stories that I make, and then I'll probably go off and do like sell out Hollywood movies or something.
Man, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Thanks, man.
It brings me back to what I was mentioning earlier, like representation.
Yeah.
I was doing some research, hand quotes research, like like the percentages, like in Hollywood that goes, the roles that go to Latinos, Asians, African Americans, and it's it's kind of sad, you know, like the percentages that they're at. And I think if I remember correctly, I think there was a study from USC that came out, I think a year or 2 years ago, that basically said, you know, the U.S. population of Hispanics or Latinos, it's 18%. But in Hollywood, only 3% of the roles are given to people of color. You know?
Yeah. It's funny, people get like mad about that, and like especially like I understand when like general audiences get upset about that because there's not really much they can do other than just like clamor for more representation on screen. But it always weirds me out like when filmmakers like get mad about that. It's like, hey, you know, you could make a movie and put brown people in it and solve this issue. Right. Why are you complaining about? Like, I understand why there's the need to like kind of like, you know, kind of bitch and moan a little bit. But I mean, everybody does it. But like, I think like for me, like, whenever I hear like those numbers and stuff, like I just think like, well, that's why I'm here. Like that's what I'm here for. Like I'm here to fix that, you know, to hopefully bump those numbers up a little bit, you know. And before I'm telling you, like it was never in my like, I guess because I never saw. I mean, this is before Trump became president. I never really saw a difference between myself and whites too much because I was young too and like I was super naive. But like once Trump won, like you kind of felt instantly there was this divide. And so then I remember I became way more proud to be like brown and like and now like my whole thing is like, you know, I don't ever want my movies to be like Latino preachy, which is what I love about Bad Labor, is that it's about a day laborer, but he's not like, hey, you know, we need a better life or whatever. Like there's none of that. There's no like preachy moments of like, you know, back in my culture. Like there's none of that. Like it's just a cool, fun action movie. Yeah. But I want to make that my mission. Like I want to find new, like I don't like how many times are we gonna use Michael Pena, like, you know, like it's like I love that dude, but like you're in everything, bro. Like can we give like another person a shot, because there's a lot of great talent out there.
I think like, in a way he's a good example, because I think
he's our token Mexican.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And right now we're also getting like Diego Luna and Star Wars and
but they put him in terrible movies, which is a bummer.
Yeah, I mean that movie was alright, but his character could have had
the characters weren't really fleshed out.
Yeah, you know, or like who else is like another actor like that? Well, I mean, Michael Pena, at least I will remember, you know, his
like Benicio del Toro too gets a couple.
Yeah, you know, but they all kind of started with like that stereotypical Mexican / whatever, you know, culture you want to put on there.
That's why I kind of hope that, you know, me, it's not just me too, it's like me, another filmmaker, Angel Salinas, and another filmmaker, Leonessa, like we're all coming up, and like we want to, it sounds weird to say, but we kind of want to normalize brown people, because everyone thinks that like we're, even if you're poor, I feel like people think like, oh, but every Mexican wants a better life. It's like, not really. Like they're kind of, some people are just fine. Like being here, you've won. Yeah. Like, you're already living the best life.
Right,
so
you're already at that point of comfort.
Even if you're like low income, like as long as you're living here, like in the land of the free, like you're fine. And at least in most cases that I've experienced. Yeah. And I grew up sort of like in a non-traditional Mexican household. So like my parents spoke Spanish, but like we were like, that's why like I sound white sometimes, like people like because like we were raised like primarily in English, and like we went out to restaurants all the time, like we didn't have parties where like we had the drunk uncle or whatever. Like I didn't experience all that till like I had, you know, girlfriends and went to their parties or whatever, or like like when my parents got divorced and like my dad got this girlfriend, like when we started going to her family parties, like I started saying like, oh, drunk uncle, you know, like the chisme tia or whatever, like that, like the cliches that I was never akin to or I never experienced growing up.
You're right. I mean, and like you said earlier, it makes sense that you're not trying to be preachy or you know, for that specific field, but you kind of want to normalize it. Yeah. Because
that's how it is to me. Like for the longest time, I thought I was white. I remember in 7th grade, like my mom was like, I forgot how it came up, but I remember we were in and out. And I said, well, that's okay because I'm white. And she looked at me, she's like, no, you're not. Like, what do you mean? I said, I was born here. I'm white. She's like, no, you're not, Chris. Like, you're Hispanic. I'm Hispanic. Your dad's Hispanic. Like, we had you. You're Latino. Yeah. I was like, what? And I was like, that's the worst. I'm like, you know, and I remember like, it was so stupid. Like, you fear, like, you know, being like the typical Mexican. Like, I remember I wanted to change my name to Chris Parks or whatever. And my dad kicked my ass so hard. Like, he pulled over and like just beat the shit out of me. He's like, don't you ever say that shit to me again. But and I learned the hard way, like that it's good to be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, I was a part of that too at some point.
Really?
You know? I mean, my parents are straight Mexican, you know, so are my families and stuff, you know. But I remember this specific time where I forgot, they asked me to pronounce my name in school, and my teacher, he was he's proud of his, you know, heritage. And stuff. And he used to tell me, he goes, no, it's not Eduardo Aguirre or Aguirre, it's Eduardo Aguirre. Yeah, and like you know, little moments like that kind of started instilling in me, like, you know, I kind of had to be proud of, you know, I had to try to whitewash myself, you know? And then I remember at some point, like, I guess you just grow up and you kind of start opening up those filters that you had when you were smaller. But I remember just thinking, like, like every movie that I fucking watch has a white guy in the lead role, you know?
Yeah.
And the books that they push you on in school, it's just a white guy or something, and it started making me think, like, you know, like there needs to be a little bit more representation.
Yeah.
You know,
I think especially now that like that there's like different media outlets and like, you know, Latinos are like killing it on social, and like some people like would rather watch that than go to the movies these days. Like I was talking to my friend the other day, like I think like movies are like not cool anymore. Like unless it's like a Marvel movie or whatever, like nobody really says like, oh, let's go to the movies.
Yeah,
and if you go to the movies, it's just to fucking like talk and just like be on Snapchat or whatever.
Yeah,
you
make
know, like,
side jokes and the commentary.
Right, and so like my whole goal too is like I want to make movies cool again, because like you know, like we're so, I think a big part of it is not necessarily just this, but I think a big part of it is that we're just getting like these white stories, like rehashes. Like let's just get something fresh and like new. Let's get a brown version of fucking Do the Right Thing. Let's get, you know, like a fucking, you know, a movie about, you know, a Latino superhero, but like, you know stuff like that, you know, and like that kind of thing is like what gets me excited about like pursuing these things. And like there's a bunch of people that complain. It's like, well, stop complaining and, you know, get your hand on a pen, get some paper, and fucking write a story and like make it happen. You know, like nobody else wanted to make Bad Labor but me. Even my friends who were like super supportive, like I knew like I was the only one that wanted to make this movie. Like even the actors, like they were having a good time and everything, but like, or not a good time, but like they were, you know, they were there because they wanted to be there. But I knew that I wanted to make this movie, so like I had to really push for like that to happen. And so like, you know, just go out and, you know, do it. I don't think there's any reason to complain. I mean, you can complain, but like let that fuel and
right. I mean,
projects.
Instead of complaining, wasting that energy on complaining, you
right?
can
exactly. I mean, it's fine to complain, but just like, you know, also at some point, you know,
take some action.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I get you on that. Like, I mean, with a lot of things, I think, I mean, I don't know, at least, you know, I've been doing this podcasting for a while, so I've been a different like amount of people and stuff. Yeah. And I mean, maybe I'm being a little biased, but a lot of the people that do come on happen to be Latino or Hispanic, you know, once in a while. But the fact that there's a lot of people out there, I guess, collectively trying to better, or, you know, like right now we're talking about representing. Right. Those people have that kind of same goal to try to push that. Yeah. You know, and I guess the downside would be, or, you know, if somebody's playing devil's advocate, they would say like you're trying to push like a political agenda type of thing, right? Because, you know, like Ghostbusters is all female and like, which is totally fine. Yeah, but that movie sucked.
But see, like the big argument there was like, why did it have to be Ghostbusters? Why couldn't it be like something similar, like a female group, a group of like ghost hunting scientists? Yeah, like they're not called Ghostbusters. Like that's the thing. People are just tired of like. I mean, I understand that Hollywood has to make money and stuff, but like remakes, it's like you could also spend and take a gamble, you know, on like smaller scale, like, you know, brown stories, not even just Mexican, but just more black movies, more, you know, Asian stories and stuff. Like, that's the thing though too. Like, I think the other side of that spectrum too is that like some of the creators, they get too preachy. Yeah. And it's not their fault, because the movies that they grew up that are about their culture are preachy. So they're like, oh, this is all I really know. So that's why like I make sure every time to try to steer as much away as I can from like, hey, we're just people too. You know, like I just show you a group of people that are happen to be brown. They exist. They don't really address it, and like that's it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it. Because again, like at the end of the day, you just don't want to see yourself as a victim, either, right? You know, yeah. So you want to see that you're part of that, and that is you don't have to be like. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you don't necessarily have to be connected to that Mexican culture to be feel that you're being represented. Right. You know, you can just see a brown dude on the TV and say like, oh, that guy kind of looks like me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And he's whatever he is, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You know?
And even for like people here, like to see like, you know, Azalea on screen one day, or to see like, you know, like Salt Lake City Park or not Salt Lake City Park, Salt Lake Park, you know, like like monuments from Southeast LA, like on the big screen. Like I know that's gonna get a lot of people excited, because it's like, oh shit, like if these guys can do it, like I can do it too, and that's just gonna inspire more creators. Like not necessarily filmmakers, just artists, actors, singers.
Yeah, I mean,
that's to see that it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I guess you just want to be able to keep creating, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's cool, man. Like again, kudos to that. You know?
Thanks,
I think it's cool because. Honestly, I don't know a lot of people who, I mean, they'll be interested in the film, but they never really pursued it. Right, you know? Yeah. And just to kind of have somebody that I can say, oh, yeah, I talked to that guy. Or, yeah. You know, it's cool. It's like a good feeling that you kind of wish the best for them.
Yeah,
you know?
No, thank you, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool, man. But yeah, I was going back to one of the other things again was just like, I guess, one thing I kind of kept thinking about earlier was just how sometimes they give you just the fucking culture roles to just the white people too. You know, like some
that happens
them,
sometimes.
You know?
Yeah,
I mean, it's cool. Like Scarlett Johansson, she's beautiful. I don't mind her in Ghost in the Shell.
Right.
But you know, I guess little things like that could.
Yeah, I can see why people get mad about
change.
that. You know, because if it's like a franchise that they love, but like. There's arguments for both. There's arguments for like, why can't you make it a Japanese person? And then there's arguments for like, well, it's called acting, so why can't they portray another, you know, like that would be like, why can't they portray another ethnicity and like pretend to be that, you know, because that's acting. That's like a new way of like acting, and like that they both kind of work, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I just think you know, I think that there's a bit of a wave of change coming for sure. And then, you know, we'll see what happens. But for now, like, we're still going to be, you know, I think because movies are sinking too, like, they're really going to try to, like, push every white person they can. Like, oh, how about this one? How about this one? It's like, no, we're really tired of white people already, like, and all this stuff. Like,
yeah.
I love white people, but
yeah,
like,
same. You know, they're cool.
There's a couple that are cool, you know. But like,
yeah, of course. There's other ones that not.
But you know, like, it's just like let's change this up a little bit. Like, let's get these guys out of here.
Yeah, again, normalize it a little bit. Yeah, because at least where I'm working right now, it's like a little shop. And I have a lot of people who, I guess they're up and coming actors and stuff like that, or screenwriters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they'll come print scripts out, you know, their sides.
Yeah.
I've been asked twice to just be like, hey, can you read this for me? Like being the opposite person.
Yeah.
They want me to film them and shit.
That's cool.
And it's like, you know, I kind of see the little process and stuff. But again, the majority of the people who come in is just Caucasian. That's fine. But, you know, it'll be cool to see. Not just Hispanics, you know, Asians or African Americans.
I really think once our generation is kind of through, like, making all our movies, and when we look back, like, I hope one of my big hopes is that, like, we're gonna see, like, you know, either the same amount of either white or, you know, colored actors, or just like predominantly colored actors, and then like very few, like, you know, white actors or whatever. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it just has to find a better balance.
You know, for sure.
Yeah, you look around in real life and you're usually going to see a mix of people.
Yeah, of course.
One set.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, let's see what had one of these here.
Sure.
Oh yeah, so one that I was really kind of interested in asking you was like how you create like these stories in your head. You know, you create these stories, these characters with like their own personalities and shit, and then somehow you manage to put it behind the camera. Yeah. You know, like. The graphic design that I do is kind of it's not the same thing, but you know, you got to pull from wherever the fuck you're pulling from.
Right.
It's a design, but you have a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Or you make films. Like, how does that? How does that influence come? Like, what's?
I think I just like I kind of pinpointed what it was the other day. Like, I just asked questions. Like, the idea for Bad Labor came when I was on my way to print my first feature script. It wasn't Bad Labor, but I had just written my first feature script, and I was super jazzed. And so I was going to I live near Downey, so I was going to the Office Max. But to get to Office Max, you have to drive by the Home Depot parking lot thing, and like to get to Office Max. And as I was driving, I looked at the day laborers off to the side, and I just thought, like, dude, like, because we've hired them before, like me and my dad a long time ago. But I was looking at them and like, fuck, man, like, these guys are so brave. It's like you never know whose car you're gonna get into. And then I was just like, that could be a cool movie. And so then, like, I remember the original title was like For Hire, and like I had kind of written like assassin hires day laborer and threatens to kill his family or whatever, and like that was it. And then when I read like later, a couple weeks later, when I went to Hawaii on vacation, and I was reading Robert Rodriguez's book, and I finished it. I was like, fuck, I said I want to make a movie. Like, okay, what ideas do I have? And then I thought, like, oh, that day laborer one could be cool. And then I remember me and my brother, we kind of like started like spitballing ideas. My brother's a musician, but like he's also really good at telling stories. Shout out to Brandon. But we were throwing around a bunch of ideas, and then like we came up with like, I named the day laborer Roberto after Robert Rodriguez, and then I remember we were thinking about a name for the hitman, and then I just thought, like, I don't know, how about Stanley? And it's like, Stanley, like, okay, Stanley what? And then we're like, oh, Stanley Tesla. And then like that becomes like that, like when people that have seen the movie, they repeat the name back to me, like, oh, Stanley Tesla's fucking cool, you know, and like that's cool, like to create. You know, my whole goal with this movie was to create something iconic that like brown people could like, or just, you know, people in general that like audiences that are like feel underrepresented, like to get excited about, you know, like, and even though, you know, like guiltily so, like that character is white, but the bounce back between him and like the day laborer, like, is just really cool. And like the like it's almost like a buddy comedy movie, but like not really, because like they're like two people that are like forced to be in a situation where they don't, or one doesn't really want to be there, the other one does because he just wants company or whatever. And so for me, like, I noticed that like I like to write a little bit of I get bored really quickly. So I remember originally Stanley the Hitman was like an old man, kind of like a James Spader type. Do you watch The Office?
Yeah, I do.
Kind of like that, like an old guy and like very slow talking and everything. And as I was writing this one scene after he picks him up, they're both quiet, kind of, and like soft spoken. So I was like, oh god, this is boring. So I was thinking like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, oh, let's make him young. Let's make him young and funny. And I'm like, that'll keep me interested. And so like I went back to the part where he picks him up, and then like. The movie just kind of like flew from there because I like found stuff that like really interested me and got me excited to like. Yeah. And I wrote like a bunch of great jokes for him. He's like, it was like my Deadpool almost.
Your Deadpool.
Yeah.
It's I saw the when did I see it? Yeah, I mean that guy Stanley's again. I haven't seen the movie. Where can you find that? First of all,
the movie
is that out yet anywhere?
Excuse me. No, it's not out yet. We're still doing a little bit of a festival circuit.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple places we might go to. My whole plan was to release it in this like past Friday. I was just gonna like put it out like on VOD and stuff. But I think now that after like the film festival that we were at, La Leaf, that we're kind of getting a little bit more traction and get a little more buzz.
Before that.
So they want to put it out as many festivals as they can and like do like a whole big thing before we put it out like anywhere. So now all you can catch is like the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer. Well, going back to that trailer, like I think the music on there.
Oh, that's scored by my brother. He was 17 when he started and 18 when he finished. He's a genius.
That is awesome. Like just a trailer from there, I got like an 80s like. Honestly, some of the sound effects that you had, like the transitions, sounded really Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's cool, man.
Shit.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Well, like the way I describe Bad Labor is like that's like the 90s TV movie that I never got to make. And so like, like a very pulpy kind of like low budget, you know, grimy action movie with like, like a synth score and everything and like heavy bass and like I love that score so much. It's so cool, and like my brother did all the music for it, and like we even had some help from the Altons. They like scored a couple of pieces.
Sick, yeah.
So like it was nice to kind of get everybody else involved, like different people from the community, like whether it be like actors or musicians and stuff. And so like I'm really proud of the music, especially. And
yeah, that's
like,
good.
That's my favorite. That's really my favorite part of the whole thing.
Fuck, I remember I've had the chance to interview the Altons before. Yeah, I mean, when I first started talking to them, they were still doing local, like super local stuff. And now they're fuck.
Yeah, they're
this was cool. Like everybody's interconnected somehow,
exactly,
and just kind of going up together.
I think it's important to do that, to keep everybody kind of like united and like like. I think one of the unfortunate things sometimes about like being a filmmaker is that like everybody's kind of like at each other's throats almost. Sometimes because like like there's such few spots. And people are like, like, oh, I'm going to succeed, not you. And so, like, there's kind of like that. But, like, thankfully, I've been able to find, like, a couple of filmmaker friends that are, like, we're all just, like, united. Like, nobody's, like, against each other. Nobody's, like, trying to, I don't know, like, outshine each other. Because we're all different. We're all, like, different types of stories. Like, I'm very more, like, just, like, fun. I like making things that are fun and just, like, interesting and, like, different and weird and crazy. Everyone has like, a different style, too, so... Yeah. So, like, besides Robert Rodriguez, like what other directors have you had the influence from? Robert Rodriguez influenced this movie. I gotta be honest, like, I didn't really care too much about like his other movies beforehand, but when I read his story, like, I gained so much more respect for him because I'd known that Mariachi was low budget. Yeah. And I know that like the thing, the kind of like the headline with him was like, oh, he made a $7,000 movie and that's how he got famous. But like Antonio Banderas, right? No. That's what I thought too. Oh, yeah. I think Mariachi's a movie he did with his buddy Carlos. Oh, what the? So like that's what I thought too. I'm like, but like Antonio Banderas was in it. Like, how did he know? And like you don't know the full story. When I read the book, I'm like, oh, okay, so he did it like with his friends, like really, and like for dirt cheap and like, yeah, it was really it's very like you should read the book. Like it's really like. Like the shit he had to go through, like not even to like just shoot it, but like to edit it and then like to take it out to LA because he was trying to sell it to like these like local like video stores or whatever when that was a thing. Yeah. But he just really inspired this one, and I like his work ethic, but for me, like the main like inspiration is like Tarantino, Scorsese, Edgar Wright. Tarantino's like my number, and I know people kind of catch it like, oh, like this movie was like very Tarantino. Like, no, it's not. Shut up. Like, be quiet. Because I love him, but I try to like step away from like I don't do like the whole like long monologue-y things or like the building the whole story. Because a bunch of Tarantino ripoffs like to do that, and so like I keep my dialogue pretty like natural as much as I can. But like Tarantino, Edgar Wright, who did Baby Driver, World's End, Scott Pilgrim. And then recently, like a couple new directors that like I can add to like my favorites. Damien Chazelle, who did La La Land and like Whiplash.
Oh, that's a
and then
great movie.
Yeah, those are great. And then the Safdie brothers, who did, I don't know if you saw a movie called Good Time.
Good Time, nah.
It's great. It was Robert Pattinson. You would never expect him to be fucking great.
Edward?
Twilight. Yeah, it's like, but it's the coolest crime movie of like the last 5 years or whatever.
Oh shit!
It's great. It's dope.
What
it's
is it
really
called?
dope. Good Time.
Good Time.
Good Time. It's
okay.
really sick.
I mean, I secretly kind of like Robert Pattinson, only from the Harry Potter movie, like but not Twilight. But yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, you should, dude. It's dope. I'll show you the trailer.
The last movie I think I saw was A Quiet Place with John Krasinski.
Yeah, John Krasinski's movie.
Have you had a chance to see it?
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Like,
yeah.
I did not expect that from him because I used to know him from The Office.
Yeah,
stuff,
he's very he's really talented. I really liked but it's funny, like when I watched it, like I enjoyed it, but I'm like I liked this better though when it was Don't Breathe. Did you see that movie?
Which one?
Don't Breathe.
The
one where like these kids like break into like this blind man's house. And,
he's
like,
an old.
the
guy comes out of Avatar.
Yeah. I liked it better when it was that because it was like more contained. But you know.
There was some loop, like some fucking plot holes in that. It was okay. It was alright overall. But yeah, I mean, I think when I first saw, what was it? What was that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio in the Wild?
Wolf of Wall Street?
The Revenant.
The Revenant.
I think that was Alejandro
González Iñárritu.
Yeah, like dude, I saw that movie. Like once I found out that guy was like Hispanic, like Mexican. I was
he was Mexican.
Shit, like, this movie is fucking. I mean, not that they don't make dope movies.
No, yeah.
It just gives you that like, oh fuck, you know?
Yeah, him, Alfonso Cuarón, who did Gravity, and like Y Tu Mamá También, which is my favorite of his. And then Guillermo del Toro, who just won for Shape of Water. Like those guys, like those are the three amigos, and like that, those guys, like, you know, like I really like admire them, like, cause I just been following all their work, and like it's like, you know, they're from the motherland, but like I kind of want to like, you know, borrow like their kind of trajectories where like they made stories about Mexico, and then eventually branched off in like to like more global stories, which is cool.
Yeah. Revenant itself was fucking sick. That was a badass movie. I mean, going back to like the inspiration part, like so. Like when you approach a film or you approach something that you're gonna film, do you kind of like go based off something that's personal to you, or is it more like, what if I put myself in the shoes of this, you know, so and so?
Well, I think with every project people do, like there's always like a little piece of themselves that bleeds in. But I try to tread the line of like not making it too much of like a personal story, because people don't really care about that sometimes. So like even with like something like Bad Labor.
Yeah.
My dad's not a day laborer. I've never been a day laborer, but like I inject a little bit of like my humor and like my outlook on like family life and like what you would do like if you were faced with like a predicament like this. And like so like when I face other things, like I try to make it sort of like fun for everybody to watch, but every now and then like I'll inject a little bit of like me in there, like, you know, like if you're going through like a breakup or like you know, like hard times or whatever, like or even just like some thoughts that you might have had, like just like you sprinkle it. I think it's important to sprinkle it, because like if you put a little bit of you in there, you know, like, and make at least the story appealing, everybody's gonna enjoy it,
right? And then just those little pieces help it keep it grounded. I guess.
And it's like that's really like your stamp, like that's really like what makes it a you movie, like that, you know, that you made this because like there's nobody else that could have made this, because this is something that you like put your blood and soul or whatever into, you know.
So do you think at this point, since you started, like, do you think you've had any like hardships, like moments where you're like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this type of thing?
There was a lot of that in the beginning, because I remember I would like complain to my mom, which is dumb. Like I really regret complaining, but I'm glad I learned from it in the end. But I used to complain to my mom and like my girlfriend, like oh, like what if Team Oscar was it? Like what if I peaked? Like what if that was it for me?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and like I was so scared because I saw like a bunch of other friends of mine like being successful and like doing bigger things and like directing their own sets with like other people, not just like two guys like I had to do and everything. And like, but the thing is like when you are faced, when you doubt yourself, you just have to, you know, like be sure of yourself, be like, you know what, there's no other way, like I'm gonna like live this life without doing what I want to do. And so once I kind of shifted my mind, and once I thought like, okay, Bad Labor, I remember like I told my girlfriend like once I made Bad Labor, once it was finished, like it's like it felt like I didn't have to worry about like having a film created more. Like it almost felt like I would just kind of like hang my dick out of my pants and just be like, yep, Bad Labor right here, like that's like I just like there was no way it wasn't gonna happen by that point.
Yeah.
So thankfully I haven't had like thoughts like that in like years, because things are taking off for that. now we just did this series, like I said, for We Are Me Too, Instant Crush, and like we had a crew of like 20 people, which was like nuts, and like like talking to costume and like actors and like producers or whatever. Like it was a really exciting experience. And to be 21 and like to do that like at this age, like it just really got me excited because like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and so it was a nice way to kick everything off, I think.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
And I have Bad Labor to thank for that, and like that's I think that like if anybody's ever like struggling like to do some like they want to do something, like just fucking do a thing yourself, like because it's gonna get you attention, like like I wish I would have had more fun making Bad Labor, because I will always say, just because it's true, I had a horrible time making that movie. Because I was so concerned about like my legacy, like this has to be amazing, and like thankfully of all the breakdowns I had on that set, like it came out really cool. But like from there on in, like I made sure that like everything I do afterwards, like I want, like sets are work, but I think, it just helps the morale, like if you're at least just not an asshole, or if you're not, like, this sucks, like I don't know what to do, or you just quit. It's like just like find other ways, like find, different routes, and like you'll be fine.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, like it's like a really huge band. You have all these minds working together.
It was really great. I really loved that set experience, because like the entire time everybody was just like, man, like you're so nice. I'm like, thank you. Like I'm glad you think so.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man.
Thank you, man.
Like we're close to that time here. We're going to 45 minutes because we keep this show short nowadays, man. But yeah, I mean, one of my last questions would be, you kind of answered it, but
sure. If
you had the chance to look back and talk to your younger self, like what would you tell yourself? Like, well,
I have a lot of things that I would say. That's why I was thinking about this today, kind of. I just like, hey man, like chill out, relax. Like it's gonna happen, but you just have to like relax. Like I know, kind of part of like the reason that you did you're going to do big things is because of your freakouts, but like chill out, pay attention to things that matters, like love your girlfriend, be nice to your mom, be nice to everybody, because like in the end, when things go south, like they're all going to be there for you. And just cherish them, love them, and appreciate them always. And don't forget to prioritize, because family always comes first, I think. And I didn't have that belief before. Like I used to get annoyed when Robert Rodriguez or Richard Linklater would be like, "Oh, I put my family first." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "That's why you guys make like subpar movies, But it's like really like families. That's the priority. Like movies are cool and everything, but like like there's like I'm sure there's like a big argument like with like filmmakers, like would you rather be a genius, or would you rather be revered as like this troubled genius, or like be happy and like a filmmaker make kind of like whatever movies? Like not that I aim to make whatever movies, but I would rather pick like family man. And it used to be the other way around before. Like I used to want to be this like troubled artist, but like it doesn't have to be that way. It was like that because literally back then making movies was a fucking miracle. Like it took hands to do things, like now we got computers, now we got like
it makes it easier. The technology just makes it easier
exactly, so it doesn't have to be like we have to put everything into it. Like you can just be a guy, make a great movie, and then move on. That's it. So that's what I would tell myself for sure.
No, that's some good advice.
Thank you,
because a lot of people get stuck, man. They get stuck, and
you get into a dark place, and like it's
they think they peak, they think they peak, and from there it's just everything is, you feel like you're not going to reach that level again, But that's why it's also good to put yourself around like people who support you too, like because that's always going to be really helpful. I've been very fortunate to have that, like my mom, my my girlfriend, or my brothers and stuff, and dude. Well, Chris, thank you for coming out.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Fun. Like I felt like the time flew here.
No, it did for sure, man. I had a great time.
I'm gonna obviously keep following you, fucking Facebook, stalking you,
thank you,
Instagram, because at least, and when the movie comes out, I'm for sure gonna see it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! I'll send you a copy.
Oh damn, sick! All right, cool. Hookups. But yeah, man, thanks again for coming out.
Of course.
If people want to reach out to you, or I guess follow you, see your progress, see what new shit you're working on, where can they find you?
So on Twitter and Instagram, you can find me at the Chris Carmona, Carmona. Those are all my handles. And you can just check out like. Cool.
And I mean, that's basically where they can get updates when that movie does release, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna like promote the shit out of it when it comes out for sure. Because promoting's like a big. I have a lot of fun promoting. It's
awesome.
Fun.
And I mean, you have a YouTube channel, right, where they can just see the trailers
same thing.
And stuff?
The Chris Carmona. Yeah, you can look it up, or just go to like Bad Labor official trailer. Like it'll come up. It's the first thing.
Sick. All right. Well, you heard it, people. Man. Bad Labor. Check it out. The trailer looks fucking cool.
Thank you, man.
Chris Carmona. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy to see ya. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy you're here. Getting by ain't easy. Getting by ain't easy. She got exactly what I need. Got some fire for the greens and some water for the soul. Life is meant to be. Now we caught up in the beat. Is that perfect chemistry? Oh damn, she the treat for me. And she do it for the free. Oh damn, she do it for the fan. Just exactly what I need. Planting seeds on mother's land. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy to see her. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy you're here. When smoking on that Jamaican, we start feeling like expectations. I be fucking up the rotation, but it's all good, we just laugh. No more sleeping out of that pavement, no unhealthy meal irritations. No more stressing out about payments, girl, it's all puff past. She got exactly what I need. Got some fire for the greens and some water for the soul, Lord. She got exactly what I need. Got some fire for the greens and some water for the growth, Lord. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy to see her. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy you're here. Having a bad day, but it's all okay. I'm happy to see her.